I was asked the other day, would I buy a house right now in this current housing market? And honestly, it's a great question. First and foremost, let's address the elephant in the room. I am a real estate agent and I do benefit from people selling and buying houses. Let's just put aside the real estate agent part of me for a bit and let's just answer this question honestly. Let me kind of go through and give you the checklist that I would go through if I were thinking and looking into buying a house right now. The first thing I would address is how shitty this housing market is. The interest rates are high, the prices are high, and that's because we had a huge inflation over the last 3 or 4 years, thanks to, in my opinion, a lot of corporate greed that came into the housing market that inflated a terrible issue that our society has today. And that issue is looking at our houses, our housing, as a form of investment. But that's a topic for another day. Off the bat, I can say honestly that right now is not a great time to look at real estate as an investment. The first question I would ask myself is, do I have an urgent need? Do I have an urgent need to buy? Is there something in my life going on right now that requires me to buy a home, or at least move, I should say? Was there a recent life event like a divorce, a death, a marriage? Do I need to upsize or downsize for any specific reason? Am I running out of space? Or is there something going on with my job where I need to relocate? Or have I made a decision now where I need to move closer or further away from family? So I guess the question here is there something strong going on in your life that's making you want to move? Because whenever you move is when you should decide, should I buy or rent? Not like, hey, I've been pretty comfortable where I am for the last 3 or 4 years and I have absolutely no reason to move right now, but now I'm going to go buy a house because some Chad at work told me that they made a bunch of money and I want to take advantage of that. The second thing I would do is I would analyze the area that I want to move into and I would look at how much it costs to rent there versus how much it costs to own a house there. Not as in how much the prices are, but what that monthly payment would look like. Now, there's three things that could happen here. The rent could be much higher of a monthly payment than the actual mortgages. And this is maybe not likely anymore, but back in the early 2010s, this was very much the case. You would be able to rent a house for $1,500 or buy it and have a $1,000 monthly payment. So it was a no-brainer. If this is the case for you, it's green, go ahead, let's move forward. The second thing that could happen is your rent and your mortgage payment is about the same. So it's going to be like $2,400 to rent a place or $2,400 to have a mortgage payment on that house. In this case, we need to go to the next step and evaluate the cost of buying a house, which we'll talk in a bit. And last but not least is rent much cheaper than the actual monthly payment of the house that I'm looking at? So if rent is, let's say, $1,800 a month for a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom house, and to own that house would be $3,000 a month, then I would seriously consider not buying, because I need to be living in this area for a certain reason, whether it's school for my children or school for me or my family lives nearby, wherever the case is, there's a strong reason why I need to be in that area. And if it's just unaffordable to buy there, to have a monthly payment there, it just doesn't make sense to buy. Now, after this, if we are at number 2 or number 1, or maybe you're number 3 and you're still deciding to buy, then we need to evaluate what the cost is. So there's a lot of videos out there that talk about the cost of owning a home, but let's just say you're going with an FHA loan. 3.5% down would be the down payment. Closing costs here in Arizona would be at least between $8,000 to $10,000, but let's just say 2% of the house. And let's say another $1,000, maybe $2,000 for inspections, appraisals, and any other additional fees. So for a $400,000 house, let me just calculate that real quick. That would be about $24,000. So obviously this will change or adjust if you're going with conventional, 5%, 10%, 20% down, whatever the case is. But the next question I would ask myself is, do I have the ability to afford the cost? We're not talking about affordability, the cost of buying a house. So when I say, do I have enough to cover the cost? I don't mean, do I have 24K in the bank? I mean, do I have my emergency fund set up? Do I have my investment set up? And then on top of those things, do I have an additional $24,000 for the cost of the house? Now from here, things might be exciting for you and you're like, you know what? I have a strong reason to moving. The rent is about the same or it's more expensive, so it makes sense for me to buy. Now, the third option. Ooh, Javier, I'm excited. Let's go. What is it? Well, this is where a lot of you guys, unfortunately, are going to take a back step because it's the most difficult one. This one is, can I actually afford where I live? Oh, no, not the dreaded A word. You would rather hear a-hole than afford. This is something that you're going to have to just trust me on, okay? You do not want to put yourself in a position where you're just going to go off what the lender's telling you qualify for. Because if you talk to a lender, they're going to tell you, you qualify for this much, go buy. You're going to be like, yay, but it's not going to be what you truly can afford. You're going to put yourself in a golden jail cell. Let me explain. So let's say you make, I don't know, $10,000 a month between you and your spouse. So let's say you have very low debts or almost no debts. You can qualify up to like 43 to 50% of the total payment for your monthly payment. So you could qualify up to even a $5,000 monthly payment. This is huge. This is probably like, at least in my area, like, I don't know, 500, 600K house. You'll be able to finally get the house that you can flex everybody on Instagram, and maybe you can finally get your mother or father's approval. If you're making $10,000 a month, you're probably only taking home about 75% of that, which is about $7,500, to give or take. Maybe you're at 8,000, maybe you're at 7,500. So technically, you would qualify $5,000 and you only make $7,500. That means 66% of your check could go potentially to your mortgage. This is the golden jail cell. You're going to love your house. You're going to be in the amazing community, but you're going to feel like you're trapped. You're like you're a prisoner in your own house. And please, please do not do this. So how do we get out of it? Well, first and foremost, there's a lot of rules. A good rule of thumb is 25% of your net income, but me personally, I like a third of my net income. So that's the rule that I like to live by, and that's what I recommend for a lot of you guys. 33% of my net income, as long as that is my mortgage payment, I feel pretty comfortable. You can disagree and go lower, but that's just my opinion. So if it was $7,500 a month, then we can do 33% of that, and that means my monthly payment should not exceed $2,475. So at least this leaves me 2/3 of my income to pay my bills, to save more money, to do what I need to do to live my life comfortably, pay off other debts, whatever the case is. Maybe buy more magic cards. This is my newest thing I'm into now. So I don't know. I feel like I just find something new and I just really get obsessed over it. And I like watch videos and play a lot. And then next month I'm like moving on to something else. So this is my current obsession. Anyways, so in conclusion, it's a really personal question to ask somebody if they should buy right now in this market, because it's not a market question. It's a personal question. What is your personal situation right now? And how does it rank up against the pressure of the current market? Because honestly, if you just do this basic thing I said today, you'll understand the pressure that the market's putting against you. Now, sometimes I get from my Californians, that's right, Californians, hope you're listening, I get these emails that are like, Javier, I have $400,000 in savings. I have this, paid off my debts. And they're just like, everything is just amazing about their situation. And they're like, but in my area, houses are just 900K or 800K. It's just completely unaffordable. And that's so heartbreaking because they're in like an amazing situation. And in this case, if your area doesn't support your ability to become a homeowner, do not base your personal success off becoming a homeowner. Right? I would rather have a multi-six-figure investments spread out through several things than a house. Go build a strong portfolio, but go build something that's excited. And yes, maybe you won't be able to own a house, but you have something of substance. A lot of these people buying a house nowadays, they don't really have much of substance. They can say they're a homeowner. And maybe that's why people are becoming homeowners, because they don't have anything else going on for them. For you guys, just work on something else, or for everybody else who is in a market that's a little more healthier, but it's just a little bit more expensive, continue to work on yourselves. So would I buy a house right now? That's a personal question. I'd have to tell you about my family. I'd have to tell you about my finances. I would have to tell you a lot about myself, because at the end of the day, I don't really care about what's going on in the market right now with the current situation that I'm in. That's a personal question. Thank you guys. If you guys want to email me or text me or call me anytime, then my link is below. You can leave me an angry email about how I just totally made you watch the whole video and I didn't even give you my answer. So I apologize. Please leave me an angry email. If you want to work with an agent here in Phoenix, Arizona, my phone number is below. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate you. Man, there's a dog hair in my coffee.